This is one in a series of videos to introduce you to Litera's PowerDesktop application and features. PowerDesktop is an intuitive and user-friendly tool that overcomes data transfer challenges. There are 3 modules, each of which may be purchased separately or bundled for import, export, and importing PST folders and files into a DMS. This video will introduce you to the PST import process. In my first video, I talked about the 2 tabs in the dashboard. The Work tab represents content that is imported into or exported from the DMS, in this case, iManage. The Local window represents content that is not going into or coming out of the DMS, but is its own process, a unique process. And that's how we import PST modules. What we found in our previous product that PSTs contain a lot of information that have nothing to do with emails. PSTs contain contact information, email information, as well as, tasks and other Outlook or other email related content. And what the PST module does is allow you to extract the email messages in the folder structure and then to the Windows file system, and then you use one of the import options to import it into the DMS using the Work tab. So I wanted to show that as a separate function just so that it's clear how that works. So the first thing you do when you want to initiate a PST import is you click on the Local tab, you go to Tools, you go to Export Messages, and what that does is allows you to navigate to your Windows file system. And I have a PST. It's certainly not the size that you would encounter normally, but I'm going to, in the interest of time, I'm going to choose this one. And it extracts the PST. We haven't actually extracted the content yet, but it extracts the PST in this panel to show you, what the folders are. My PSTs that I use for demonstrations like this are not typical of what you would find in a business Outlook setup, but I have to be careful not to include things that are actually part of my emails. So everything it's a little bit of a Frankenstein. But you can see that I have under this inbox, I have things for the Kroger Corporation. I have a subfolder. I have another matter over here and some additional subfolders for that. And then I might also have some sent items or other folders that I've created for content. So we know what the breakdown is here. Here's the source. I can give this a name, and that will be in the name column of the dashboard for the queue for this. And I have an option to create a job folder, which is basically a top-level folder in the Windows file system when this exports that defines this extraction job. I need to choose a destination. I can skip any empty folders, and I have a lot of them here. And I can also choose a maximum subject length. And you have to worry, emails can be deeply nested. So you have to take into consideration a long folder path. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and start the extraction. And you'll see this job. It's in the queue. And it's progressing. It's extracting. And while that finishes up, I'm going to go out to the Windows file system, to the location, where I created this, and which is under exports. There we go. This is the one I created. And we can see the folder structure. I told you I had a lot of empty folders in this one. So here are the two folders with subfolders. And notice that for each email file, that there is a unique ID in front of the beginning of the subject. What this does, there are email files that are not unique names necessarily. So we don't want Windows to think, oh, this is exactly the same thing, I'm going to overwrite it. So each file we export, that we extract, has a unique ID. Now, this unique ID is not exposed in the DMS after I import this back into the DMS. So it never shows up, users don't see it. It's simply a useful thing to do to keep all of these email subject lines or file names unique. And you can see that all of the subfolders that I had are created. So the next step, once I have that extraction, is to go back to my work queue and also to an import function. And I'm just going to use a simple folder import for this. And open that content, go to that content that I created. And that's in C under exports. And there's the you can see everything down to the email level in each folder. I'm going to leave this as is. There shouldn't be any extensions in here that are not allowed in the DMS. Here's the folder path. I can omit the root folder. So if I click on this box, you can see that it's going to start the folder structure at Outlook data file. You can change that as you wish. So the next step in a folder import would be to click on Next, find a destination, and I'm going to choose the correspondence or the email folder for this particular matter. And I'm not going to create a new folder under here because I'm going to use that Outlook folder at the top to, I could I could have chosen my top level to be at that folder so everything goes directly into email. But sometimes, especially if it's someone coming from another firm, it's useful to have that in a separate subfolder structure. Again, it's totally up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, choose Next. Now in a folder import, again, I'm not going to spend too much time on folder import because I will be delving more deeply into that. You have the option to modify metadata. In this case, I don't need to because the most important thing is that it has a class of email because email looks and behaves better when it's got its proper class assigned. So in this case, if this did not exist at this level, because this is in the email folder, and so it's going to inherit from the primary email folder. So I don't need to change things. If I needed to, I could go here, I could modify the class or do whatever I wanted to do. And then you would just choose next, 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 and finish. So the job takes it, it's CSV, PST files are never going to be super duper speedy. They're going to take time because they are ungainly containers and they've got a lot of other stuff in them, but it still is so much quicker than processing, loading the whole PST up into the application using a lot of resources, and it takes exponentially more time to do it that way than it does this way. So that's the PST import process.